The 7-time Winston Cup champion would bump him.
You better tighten his belts up.
I'm going to run over him every chance I got from now to the end of the year, every chance I got.
Oh, this is redneck's dream right here, buddy.
In front of the crowd like this, in front of all these guys, and to bring home the sweep of the weekend is pretty awesome.
I hate he spun out, but damn, it's good to win.
This is Trackside at Bristol.
Hi, everybody. You're taking a live look at one of the most iconic tracks in history, the Bristol Motor Speedway. We're gearing up for a triple-header weekend where the three main series in NASCAR are set to hit the concrete. Welcome into Trackside at Bristol. Another weekend of racing is in store at the world's fastest half-mile oval, and we'll have everything you need to know before the cars hit the track. Thank you for joining us. I'm Kenny Hawkins.
And I'm Mackenzie Kane. We are only a couple of weeks into the NASCAR season, and still there are plenty of headlines. One of the most notable being this season came before the end of last season. NASCAR unveiling its plan to boost Cup Series horsepower on certain tracks this season from 670 to 750. The tracks impacted are road courses, oval tracks less than a mile and a half, and the change was made after growing demand from both drivers and fans. And now Bristol's turn to add that horsepower.
Michael Jordan has a history of winning in threes. His driver Tyler Reddick did just that to start the season. He won the first 3 races of the year, including the Daytona 500. He tacked on a 4th win at Darlington just a few races ago. The 2311 driver still sits at the top of the points with a comfortable 82-point lead over Ryan Blaney.
And overall, it's been a dominating start to the season from the Toyota camp. As Kenny said, Tyler Reddick has been the star of the season thus far, but Denny Hamlin has also had a trip to victory lane this season. Toyotas hold 4 of the top 7 spots in the standings, and the top 3 lap leaders on the season are all Toyotas as well. Those drivers, Reddick, Hamlin, and Christopher Bell.
But you know, Chevy's saying not so fast. They're trying to peel away at the Toyota dominance. The critics say that Chevy is having a slow start of the season, but last week Chase Elliott silenced many of the doubters in a race that looked to be all Denny Hamlin. Pit strategy put the number 9 ahead, and he was able to hold off a late push from Hamlin and score the win at Martinsville. It was Hendrick Motorsports and Chevy's first win of the year. Now, after a week away from racing, the series is back on a short track here at the Bristol Motor Speedway, where we are now joined by 2-time O'Reilly Series champion and Daytona 500 winner Ricky Stenhouse Jr. And also my top golf partner years ago in Nashville.
Did I lose that title?
Yeah,
you did.
This was the man back in. How long? You said it was how long?
It had to be at least 2014 or 15.
Really?
It was a long time ago.
Oh, Ricky, I just started this business 10 years ago.
I think I was
No,
out of elementary
come
school
on.
by then, huh?
Listen,
This is
thanks.
my 14th Cup season,
That's,
so
yeah.
it's been a while.
So you know I've been around 14 years. Listen, you're back here at Bristol Motor Speedway. Is this a good place for you or a bad place for you?
Great place. It's my favorite racetrack that we have on the circuit. Love that we come here, twice a year, and then it's just a racetrack that makes me feel like I'm back driving the dirt cars that I grew up driving on. So it's just a blast. And then this weekend I get to do it twice, running the truck race tomorrow night and then the Cup race on Sunday. So pumped up for this weekend.
What sort of strategic changes come with getting out of that truck and getting ready to hop in a stock car on Sunday?
The trucks, I ran my first one at Daytona earlier this season, and my second one was at Atlanta. So totally different racetracks than coming here to Bristol, but they don't drive anything alike. So, I'm really comfortable when I get back in my Cup car. Obviously, I run that every single weekend, have no issues. It takes a couple of laps to get adjusted to the truck when I get in it. So there's a few things. Things are a little bit slower. The trucks move around a little bit more. You can run them a little bit more sideways. And so there's a couple little nuances there that are quite a bit different than the Cup car. But once I hop in my Cup car on Saturday, I'll be dialed right in.
We're going to go in more to this in a moment, but let's talk about the new horsepower package, 750. Will we see a difference? Will fans see a difference? And will you guys feel a difference?
It's hard to say. I felt like at Phoenix, we felt it a little bit. Darlington, we felt it a lot. At the road course at Circuit of the Americas, we didn't feel it a ton. Felt it a little bit at Martinsville. It'll be interesting to see what our end of the straightaway speed is here at Bristol compared to, what it was last year. But, we got a new tire this weekend as well. a lot of different variables that we're going to have to kind of figure our way through this weekend come Saturday. So a really important 20-minute practice session.
All right, talk to me a little bit about the logistics here. The PJ1 on this track, riding the top, riding the bottom. What's the strategy for us, amateurs out here?
Yeah, I was actually just looking at the kind of the black strip right around the bottom of the racetrack where we apply the PJ1. And, for me, I enjoy the top of the racetrack here a lot. It is by far, when the track moves up there, it's a lot of fun to run. The bottom's still fun, but you get the top groove working, and, us drivers love being able to just drive the car quite a bit harder than you can drive it on the bottom. You can run in harder, you can use less brake, you're back to the gas a lot sooner, your straightaway speed is a lot faster, and then it also gives you 2 lines, and sometimes 3 lines, depending on kind of how you enter the corner and what your car is doing. So I enjoy this racetrack a lot.
Tell me, what does Tyler Reddick have under that hood? Okay, what kind of fuel are they putting in that car?
No, they're just good right now. And Reddick, he obviously won Daytona 500. I unfortunately watched him cross the finish line, and we were in second there. But I had a good run at Atlanta. Circuit of the Americas and Darlington's by far his best racetrack on the schedule, and so he's kind of expected to run well there. But yeah, you put that on top of him winning Daytona and Atlanta. Great start to the season, and it'll be interesting to kind of see how that plays out through the rest of the year. Like you said earlier, the Chevrolets were struggling a little bit. Cool to get Chase a win for the Chevrolet camp last race at Martinsville before the off week, and I'd like to put our Chevy in victory lane come Sunday. All
right, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., want to wish you the best of luck at the double this weekend at the Bristol Motor Speedway, and thank you very much for the time.
Thank you.
All right, it's time for a change. Fans, drivers, and all stakeholders in the sport all ask for the thing: more horsepower. NASCAR listened, and they delivered.
Yeah. Kenny, Bristol Motor Speedway has always been about intensity, but this weekend, that edge gets turned up an extra notch. For the first time in competition at Bristol, drivers will experience a new 750 horsepower rules package, up from 670 last year. So far, teams have only tested the changes at the world's fastest half mile, but this weekend, the stakes are much higher.
Biggest thing that you'll see is guys falling off harder, more horsepower, obviously, and that's what you want to see sometimes. I did hear that when the test earlier this week, they didn't feel a huge difference, but I'm sure when we get here and put 40 cars on the track, it's going to be a lot different.
More power means more speed, but at Bristol, it also means more pressure on the tires. The concrete surface, combined with cooler temperatures, has led to extreme wear in recent races. But Goodyear is responding, bringing a new tire for the Cup Series designed to lay rubber down more consistently.
It's still Bristol, but the last few races have been tire wear like crazy or not. So we'll just see that if the horsepower adds to it. I think the temperature has a lot to do with it, but we'll be ready for chaos. I've loved the way the races have played out where you got to save tires. I think it just changes the mindset of drivers for the first time in a long time, and it's been a lot of fun.
Some drivers say the extra horsepower should help them off the corners, but whether that translates to better racing is still to be seen.
Last year I felt like the engine was just so far down. You weren't able to kind of get the momentum off the corner. Now with having a little more horsepower, hopefully we can be able to get off the corner a little bit harder and run side by side. So we'll see what happens, but time will tell. You get 40 cars out there, it's a lot different than just 3, but I'm cautiously optimistic that we can come here and have a great race.
It's a new playing field this race weekend as the last great Coliseum reveals if more power and the right amount of tire wear is the perfect recipe for a short track spectacle. Reporting in Bristol, Tennessee, Mackenzie Kane, News Channel 11 Sports.
Hey, I said it earlier, if you have the need for speed, then this is where you want to be this weekend because they're going to turn it up a notch. The only problem is the drivers have talked about turning it up a notch, but then there's the worry about the tires.
Oh, absolutely, especially with, low downforce, more horsepower. Goodyear's coming out with a different tire to help them get off the corners a little better, get off the edge. It's going to be interesting to see how that translates this time of year, whether that compares to a fall race versus a spring. But we know it's going to be a gorgeous time of the weekend, the weather-wise. It's 70 and beautiful. That's the perfect scenario for a great weekend of racing. Kenny, this is a chance that separates the boys from the men on this track. And speaking of some of those pros, am I allowed to say that?
Yes,
speaking of some of the pros course, there's a couple that we want to look out for, especially this weekend. Denny Hamlin, the Joe Gibbs driver, usually performing well at Bristol. He's won here 4 times and is strong at short tracks. He did everything but win the race 2 weeks ago at Martinsville, and expect the number 11 Toyota to be strong on Sunday.
You know, you can't forget about last season's champion Kyle Larson. It's been nearly a year since he's found victory lane, but it could very well happen again this weekend at Bristol. He was three total wins here, 2 of them coming in the last 3. It's been quite a start to the season for the champion, but Hendrick's win at Martinsville could be just what the doctor ordered for Larson.
And lastly, Kenny, we can't forget about our Connecticut boy. Let's talk about Joey Logano, the 3-time Cup Series champion, loves an even-numbered year. He also loves the Bristol Motor Speedway. He's got 2 wins here on the concrete, but both of those were nearly 10 years ago. Logano has a physical driving style, which is perfect here at Bristol. You can never truly count him out at the world's fastest half mile.
You can't forget about him because she's from Connecticut, so that's why.
Yeah, you got to vote for my local boy sometimes, right?
Okay.
Well, nevertheless, Kenny, coming up, we've got a lot to talk about here. It's the best of Bristol. We are going to look at some of the most iconic moments in the Speedway's history, from NASCAR to football, even a brief baseball stint. We will tell you what made the list coming up after the break.
This is Trackside at Bristol.
Welcome back to Trackside at Bristol. We're live. The half-mile bull ring has produced some special moments both on and off the track.
Yeah. Kenny, NASCAR is Bristol's bread and butter, but other sports have stepped inside the Coliseum. A list of great moments is truly endless. Let's list them off. Why don't we, Kenny, huh?
You know, arguably, one of the most iconic moments in NASCAR's history happened right here. Dale Earnhardt wanted to rattle Terry Labonte's cage a little bit, and he did just that. I was here, turn 2. The Intimidator moved Labonte to score a win in the 1999 night race under a chorus of boos from the fans. First time you ever heard that here at Bristol. In victory lane, Earnhardt echoed those famous words, "I didn't mean to really turn him around, just wanted to rattle his cage a little bit."
Yeah, Kenny, and his son, Dale Earnhardt Jr., also coined the iconic phrase at this iconic track. It wouldn't be Bristol without hearing, "It's Bristol, baby." Earnhardt. I thought that was pretty good, right?
That's right.
Earnhardt coined the phrase following the weekend sweep in the fall of 2004, one of many epic moments in Junior's NASCAR career.
You'll be hearing from Junior's lawyers. At a track this small, tempers are going to flare. Remember this? Tony Stewart is known for letting his emotions show on the racetrack. I was there in 2012 for the night race. Pretty good throw by Tony. His day ended early after contact with Matt Kenseth. After climbing out of the car, Stewart waited for Kenseth to circle back around, and Stewart threw his helmet at Kenseth's car. The throw was perfectly placed. Maybe a quarterback's career would have also worked for Stewart. And Matt's like one of the nicest guys, too.
Absolutely. And you know what? Speaking of football, Kenny, this speedway has played host to the Battle at Bristol, a game between the regional foes, Tennessee Volunteers and the Virginia Tech Hokies. The game set several records, nearly 157,000 fans packing the stands, making it the largest single game crowd in NCAA football history. And of course, we have to mention the Vols dominating the game, beating the Hokies 45-24. But this last event is still fresh in everyone's minds. The Speedway Classic. It took some work, but the Speedway was able to convert the world's fastest half mile into a baseball diamond. The game between the Atlanta Braves and the Cincinnati Reds set an attendance record in the MLB, and the Braves went on to win the game. Thankfully, we will have better weather at Bristol this weekend than we had at day 1 of the Speedway Classic, right, Kenny?
So here's the thing. As we look back at some of the memorable moments here at the Bristol Motor Speedway, really the only one you can relate to was baseball last year. I don't know if you were even alive for the rest of them. Were you? What were you, like 3 back in 2016 for the football?
Way back in the day. I was, oh gosh. Well, when we were talking earlier about, Earnhardt Jr. in 2004, I was, learning to walk, maybe crawling at that point.
Wow.
What about you, Kenny? 40 years. You just celebrated a huge milestone here, 40 years across that timeline. What's been your favorite?
I was on my 10th time for a soft drink. It might have been the Battle at Bristol, between Tennessee and Virginia Tech. But honestly, I've never seen a race like the Intimidator and also Labonte. I never heard him booed here. It's the only time I ever heard Dale Earnhardt booed here.
Are you sure that they were booing him? Or
no,
booing
they
through?
booed him. Okay. Yeah, but that's the only time. You wouldn't see that anymore. Listen, Bristol may be a short track, but the campus is massive. The track, the dragway, campsites, parking, there's everything out here. Now there's a new tool available for race fans trying to make their way around the grounds. They're rolling out a new navigational tool for folks on race day. You can find it in the Speedway's app. It allows you to find locations on the property faster than in previous years. Speedway officials say this new tool will make race days faster and more efficient. This navigational tool is located inside the Bristol Motor Speedway app.
You click on the button, you hit locate me just like you would a GPS, just like Google Maps, just like Apple Maps. Locate me, where am I? Okay, and I want to go. I see gate 13 is that way. I want to go there. That seems like the nearest gate. You say, I want to go to gate 13, and it will tell you walking directions. It will tell you the nearest tram, the nearest restroom, whatever is nearby. It will tell you all of those things.
Hope it tells me where the hot dog stand is. This navigational tool is located inside the Bristol Motor Speedway app.
Kenny, I'm right there with you.
There you go.
Especially because we've got some more stuff coming up. Bristol Motor Speedway has provided some intense moments on the track, but do you know the history of the course? We'll give you a look inside the track's legacy, and you'll hear from some drivers on how they feel about the last great Coliseum.
This is Trackside at Bristol.
Welcome back live to Trackside here at Bristol. There's history everywhere in NASCAR, but there's just something different about the Bristol Motor Speedway.
Yeah, you're exactly right about that, Kenny. Bristol has played a huge role in just the growth of the sport in general. It's one of the oldest tracks on the NASCAR circuit. It was opened in 1961, built on a former dairy farm. It was originally called the Bristol International Speedway, and it was the world's fastest half-mile, banked higher than both Daytona and Talladega at a whopping 36 degrees. It's only one of a handful of concrete tracks on the NASCAR circuit, but it began as an asphalt course. Lights went up on the track in 1978, paving the way for that iconic night race in the fall.
I wasn't here then, okay.
1978, you sure? I certainly wasn't.
Just by the way.
Yes. Well, Kenny, for fans, it's one of the best sporting events that you can visit. For NASCAR drivers, though, there's something different in the atmosphere that makes them always love circle on the calendar coming here to Bristol. They say that this track is truly unlike any other.
Bristol is definitely one of a kind.
It's such a thrill.
Jet fighters in a gymnasium, right? Like that's kind of what it's like.
From the moment you walk through the gates, Bristol Motor Speedway leaves an impression.
I think the wow factor is always there. Like the moment you walk into Bristol and you see all the grandstands, it's just kind of like, wow, this place is pretty wicked.
That wow factor is something even the sport's biggest stars never truly get used to.
It's just an incredible feeling. There's not a track on the circuit where you feel more like a race car driver than Bristol.
Every time you roll through the hills of Tennessee and you come around the corner and you see Bristol standing there, you have to pinch yourself.
And for some, the love for the track started long before they ever got behind the wheel.
I remember going to the night race as a kid, and I thought it was the coolest thing ever. And the spring race also has always been a really special time, and just no place like it. Like I always tell people who've maybe never been to a race before or they haven't been to Bristol, I was like, what are you doing? You got to get to Bristol, man.
Whether it's your first time or your 100th, drivers say the energy inside the last great Coliseum never fades.
If you want to see NASCAR at its finest, you got to come to Bristol. It's the last great Coliseum. When you roll into this place and you look around at all the fans in the stands, and then we're ripping around here in like 15 seconds, there's nothing cooler than that.
Where speed meets tradition, Bristol isn't just another stop on the schedule, but an experience that defines what NASCAR is all about. In Bristol, Tennessee, Mackenzie Kane, News Channel 11 Sports.
Now, obviously, when you've seen as many races that I've seen over 40 years, it's really hard to pick a favorite moment. I mean, a lot of great finishes, a lot of fantastic pushing and shoving and arguing going on. I've seen the old Bristol and the new Bristol. It's just all been good.
And I have to say, there's no better amphitheater than Bristol Motor Speedway. You want to make sure that you're bringing your headphones because this place gets loud. And speaking of getting loud, you got to get loud for our picks coming up. We have told you everything that you need to know about Bristol Motor Speedway. Now it's time for us to tell you who we think will be in victory lane on Sunday after the break.
This is Trackside at Bristol.
Welcome back to Trackside at Bristol. We're live here at the Bristol Motor Speedway getting ready for the racing weekend. So we have come to that time in the show where we're going to give you our picks. Who do we feel will win the race on Sunday? Mackenzie.
Is this a little ladies first thing we're doing here?
That's right. I'm from the South, you know, so my mama brought me up. Okay, yes.
Well, you know, Kenny, you know me when it comes to picks. I'm also not all that good, so never take my word for it. However, I'm looking at the results here. It's the second short track on the circuit so far. Chase Elliott just won at Martinsville. I feel like he might have the edge to do it again here at Bristol. You got to look at the consistency, Kenny. Why not? What about you?
Wow.
What's your mentality?
If you saw her picks in the NCAA bracket, Chase, you in trouble this weekend. I'll tell you right now. Listen, I wanted to go to Denny Hamlin, okay, but our producer told me no, that was too easy, that I didn't go too far out on the limb. So I'm going to go with my man Tyler Reddick. You know, everybody says he's not good on short tracks, but listen, this guy has been good everywhere this year. I just asked Ricky Stenhouse Jr., what does he have under his hood? I'm going with Tyler.
Well, Kenny, as you know, Denny lost to Chase Elliott 2 weeks ago at Martinsville, so I think he might do it again at Bristol this weekend. And, you know, when it comes to Tyler Reddick, his short track resume has not been what you're hoping for if you're going to vouch for him coming into here.
Yeah, it's one of those situations, really, sometimes it's kind of hard. Here's the thing. Either we're going to have one driver who just dominates. Remember a few years ago when Larson basically did everything but sell popcorn in the stands, the one race when he won, or you're going to have some accidents and it's going to be who's still surviving at the end. Listen, that's going to do it for our Trackside at Bristol, live from the Bristol Motor Speedway. For Mackenzie Kane, I'm Kenny Hawkins. Have a great night, everybody.